So this is video 4 in the series of videos that will help textile designers repeat patterns from combined scans. So this final step allows us to get our repeat right. What we've got to do here is find out and think about where we want that repeat to go. And you've got some rulers at the top and at the side of your work area, and it's quite a good idea to drag some rulers out. Let's just take that and determine where you want your repeat to start. So I can see I've got a repeating pattern with, oh, let's put that guide there. And I think we have, oh, might need to pinch a bit of flour there. I'll pull a guide out. Now you can see these two repeating orange flowers aren't straight. To make our life a bit easier when it comes to get this to tile, it's not a bad idea to get things as straight as you can. So I'm just putting a couple of little guides there, and then I'm going to use the crop tool. The crop tool's great because when you have that crop tool active, you get the straighten function that you can determine by dragging from one point to the next. So if I drag from the bottom of that first flower to the bottom of the second flower, that'll straighten that up for me. Or I could drag with the straighten option from the tip of one petal to the other one. Straighten it up at that point. So we've got a much straighter image that should hopefully tile better. Just grab a bit more of that top orange and maybe chop out some of the bottom orange that I don't need, and hit enter to complete that straighten and crop function. I'm going to rub out bits that I think are going to be a nuisance to me. Might need to add a little bit of a twirl in here. I might have to steal a little bit of twirl from somewhere else, maybe here. So I'll just use my lasso tool in on this bit. Oh, in fact, I'm going to grab the polygon lasso just because I'm wanting to work really quickly. And the closer I get to this, probably the easier it'll be to manipulate, but I'll pinch that much because it's better to have more than you need than less. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Oh, make sure I'm on layer 3 because it is sitting on layer 3. Copy and paste that and use my move tool to move that into position. So let's drag that over to my bit that needs filling in. So I'm going to get that fairly right. A free transform. So this is just techniques that we've covered in an earlier video. And then I'll use a right click and I'll skew it a bit. Get that to match in. And enter, and that's all right. Probably not a bad idea to just use my eraser tool to erase some of this pinky stuff out a bit, because that's going to be a nuisance. So I'm going to go back to layer 3 and rub some of this nasty pink out. And there we go. Right, so I think that's not far off, ready for us to tile a bit. Obviously, I'd probably clean up this pink more carefully if I was doing this for real, but if that were the case, it'd be a very long video. Get rid of some of this. Okay, So we've got to really think about what we're going to repeat. Oh, I think I might need another little bit of flower there as well. So I'm going to pinch this leaf of this flower using the lasso selection tool. Let's zoom in so we can see a bit of what we're doing. Deselect that. So I'm just going to whiz around this leaf here. Copy and paste, change to my move tool, drag that over. So this was the sort of thing that we spent quite a lot of time doing yesterday. Copying, pasting, free transforming, twirling round, and right clicking to get at warp, and then just stretching things out so that they matched better. Ooh, pull you out a bit. And then I'll just use my eraser tool. I could use a layer mask, but I'm just going to use my eraser tool very quickly to rub out a bit of leaf. Okay. And maybe I could clone stamp with a really, really tiny brush. So this is just more of that cleaning up stuff. Let's just merge that layer down first. Clone stamp, just grab. Come on. A little bit more of that purple just to join that into that leaf. A little bit of an eraser just to clean up these little dodgy bits. Okay. Right, so I think we're not far off being able to tile that now, and we'll be able to see exactly what we need to do to get it to work as a pattern. Now at this point we're going to need to set where we're repeating from. So I think we've got let's grab my move tool. We've got this flower here. That's going to be one end, and we've got some here. So I'm going to just grab my eraser tool and rub out all the extra stuff that isn't whole. So anything that isn't going to be able to tile up, I'm just going to rub it out. And I'm going to pause this a minute, otherwise this will be a very long video. So here you can see I've removed anything that wasn't whole basically. So I've got these two flowers at the top and bits at the side, and I need to crop it down to a straight line. So I'm going to use my crop tool to crop that in. And do the same on the other side. Once that's cropped, what I need to do is find out how wide it is. So I'm going to go to my image menu, image size command, and find out the width. And for this step you have to work in pixels. So in pixels this is 5206, which is lucky that it's an even number. Width of 5206, height of 5478. Write those numbers down because you're going to need them in the next step whenever you do this yourself. So I'm going to OK that. I'll just get rid of these guides now. I think I'm done with those. So this is the crucial bit. This is the bit that lets you see how that would work as a pattern tile and where you need to fill in any gaps. To do this, I'm actually going to just commit this to this now. This is my patch together file. I'm just going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to call this tile 1. And merge that down. So it's just a standard background file. Just keeps things simple, really. Then I'm going to go into my filter menu and I'm going to go into other. Then I'm going to use the offset command. And in these offset values, I'm going to put those half of those values I've just found out from my image size command. So I'm going to divide 5206 by 2, which would give us 2603. I'm going to type that in here. 2603. You can see how that offsets it by exactly half. We start to see this gap in the middle. And I'm going to do the same because I want this to tile up and down in a sort of seamless way with my vertical value. So my vertical value was 5478, 5478. When I divide that by 2, that gives me 2739, 2739. So I'm going to type that 2739 into that field, and you can see how that would offset that way. And when I click OK, we can see where we might want to fill in some gaps with different elements. So maybe I want to put another flower in the middle of this bit and another bigger flower in the middle of this bit. So we can use our lasso tool or our polygon lasso tool if you want to make life easier to grab motify bits. So I'm just going to zoom in to here and just click, click, and then not have to be quite so careful with the rest of it. It's only really a bit of a problem where it was touching other coloured pixels. So I'll just close it off and copy and paste using my move tool. I can move that into a different position. So I'm making it up now. So I'll deselect that, and I might want to pinch one of these red flowers using the same process. So back to my polygon lasso tool, grab a red flower, just taking care where things touch. Just zoom in a bit. Oh. Make life a bit easier. That's the tricky bit done. That's not too bad. Got that over there, and I can be less careful from here on in. Same thing. Copy and paste. Oh, let's check I'm on a layer that's got some information. Back to my background layer. Copy and paste. Move tool. Zoom out, Command 0, and just drag that one into position. Anything else I want to steal? Possibly another orange flower. Who knows? So I'm going to do that. I'll pause the video anyway, but I'm going to do that with this top bit and orange flowers and blue flowers. Maybe another orange flower down the bottom here. Maybe I'll just move this down here. So we're just aiming to fill in these really obvious gaps. So I'll pause that, and then you'll see what I end up with. So you'll see what I've done now is just filled in these gaps with some big flowers and little flowers. And one final tweak just to try and even out this orange in the middle bit is to use the spot healing brush tool, because that is a great way of change that. Getting rid of any sort of straight lines. It's not playing ball as much as I wanted it to. Just notice that down. So what I'll do instead, let's have a look there. I will use a tool that's hidden behind that called the healing brush tool, and that's very much like a cross between the clone tool and the spot healing brush tool, in that, like the clone tool, you have to alt click to choose what you want to heal with, and then click over the bit that you want to kind of heal. And what it does is it just is a great way of pinching texture and a little bit of colour while blending in with what's underneath it. So it's a great way to just get rid of those really harsh straight lines. Let me see a few here. We can alt click to determine what we're healing from. Just click. So you just got to just really use this to get rid of any really harsh lines that you think are going to distract on the actual finished pattern. Ooh, I've got a little bit that I need to paint here. I need to paint this in, a little bit of orange here. It's a bit of a lumpy pumpy bit. That in. I could even zoom in quite big and use my paintbrush tool to paint a little bit of tip needs to go in there. I'm just going to use my eyedropper tool above it just to pick that blue. Before I swap back to the brush tool, I'll just kind of roughly paint that little point in there. So that's a bit of a lump there on that orange, but hey ho, it's getting late. So we have a repeating pattern with all the gaps filled in. I think probably what I will do on this lump is use a brush, and I'll use that red. So I'm just holding my Alt key down to click to get that red, and I'm going to use my brushes panel to choose my leaf brush. I'm just going to reduce the size of that, stick a great, put a leafy dollop in there, that helps, and maybe even a little tiny one, this little gap here, just to break the orange up a bit. Maybe a bit bigger than that. Whoa, let's click around a bit till we've got the right. Is that changing angle? Not really. I'm gonna just go back a few steps, Control Z, and just edit that brush shape again. So I've got my brush to tip. Oh, I didn't hang on to that spacing or that jitter actually, no wonder. It didn't change angle. Spooky. That's more like it. So I'll put another one down here. And maybe put a smaller one. A different angle. That's a better angle. In there. Just rub that other one out. I could have a sneaky stray one there, but I don't want it. So I'll rub that one out. And that is now ready for me to test as a pattern. So in theory, that should tile beautifully as many times as we like. So all we've got to do now is actually define that as a pattern. So to finish off, I'm going to select all using the select menu, select all command. You could use Command or Control A, and then I'm going to use my edit menu, define pattern command. and I'm going to call this floral large pattern. I'm going to click OK, and that's my pattern done. So I'll deselect. To test this pattern, you could try it in a new document because it'll work. It's going to be in your Photoshop patterns library now forever. What we're going to do just to test it in this document is go to the layers panel, create a new layer, and using our fill or adjustment layer button, we could say pattern, and so that we can see what that might look like really small is we can reduce the pattern size and see how that works. Very small across a tile, so that repeats beautifully without there being any real nasty gaps in it because we've twirled it. So we've taken 4 original tiles, worked very hard to join them all together, and now they're a pattern that we can repeat without any problems. So I'll click OK, and that is how you create a repeating pattern that's very complicated, using Photoshop to combine scans, all those skills. So I hope that's been very helpful for you, and come back for some more simple tutorials. This is a 4-stage tutorial because it's very complex, but I hope in particular that that's going to help Teresa with what she learnt with me yesterday. Thanks for watching.